Tom was a nature photographer who often explored remote locations to capture unique images. One autumn day, he visited a national park known for its dense forests and hidden trails. While studying the park's map, he heard about an unmarked trail that few dared to follow. Determined to discover new scenery, he decided to find it despite its reputation for being dangerous. The trail was faint, but distinct enough for Tom to recognize. The ground was uneven, covered with fallen leaves, and the trees grew tightly together, creating a canopy that blocked most of the light. As he moved deeper into the woods, the forest grew quieter, the familiar sounds of rustling leaves and distant wildlife fading into silence. Tom marked the trees with his knife as he walked, creating a way to track his path. The deeper he went, the more the landscape seemed to change. The trail narrowed until it disappeared entirely. When Tom checked his GPS, the device showed no signal. His attempts to orient himself by the sun were fruitless. The canopy was too thick, and the forest seemed to stretch endlessly in every direction. As the hours passed, Tom's sense of unease grew. He turned back, looking for his marked trees, but none appeared. It was as if the forest had swallowed his tracks. The air felt heavier, and every step seemed to echo unnaturally. The sun began to set, casting long, dark shadows across the ground. With his flashlight in hand, Tom pressed on, hoping to find his way out before nightfall. After another hour of wandering, he stumbled upon a clearing. In the center stood an old abandoned cabin. Its windows were shattered, and its wooden walls were covered in moss. Desperate for shelter, Tom entered the cabin. The air inside was stale, and the floor was covered in debris. In the corner, a rusty lantern sat on a small table beside a stack of rotting papers. He used his flashlight to examine them, but found only faded, unreadable text. Tom noticed a crude map pinned to the wall. It seemed to show the park's layout, but parts of it were torn away. Scribbled on the remaining section were the words, "Stay put. Leave at dawn." Exhausted and unsure of what else to do, Tom barricaded the door with a broken chair and sat against the wall. Throughout the night, the forest outside remained unnaturally silent. The occasional creak of the cabin's wooden beams was the only sound. When the first rays of sunlight pierced through the gaps in the walls, Tom felt a wave of relief. He removed the barricade and stepped outside. The forest, bathed in morning light, appeared less menacing. Retracing his steps with the rising sun as his guide, he eventually stumbled back onto a marked trail. When Tom reported his experience to the park rangers, they noted his description of the unmarked trail in the cabin. They informed him that no structures had existed in that part of the forest for decades. Tom left the park that day, vowing never to venture off marked paths again